you were reading Timeless Years, which has got a lot of devotion in it.
Yes, I love it. I love that.
And when you read Timeless Years, you're supposed to read it as it's not a story about myself and Charles, it's your story. So you should read the book. And through the book, you can meet Maharaj and get to know Maharaj. And through that book, you'll find, and many devotees have told me this, that it opens your heart for devotion. You know? Jai Guru Maria Jose.
Jai Guru. How are you?
Good. Yourself? ¿Cómo estás? Good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So we're nearly time. So Timeless Years, I would say, is a very good vehicle for devotion. And if you missed meeting Maharaj in the flesh, you can meet him through the book. You know?
Yes, I'm finding that really true. Mm-hmm. It's a real treasure for me to read it, and I thank you for bringing this out. It's unique, definitely wonderful, and touching, very deeply touching.
It's a kind of insider's view of also the guru-disciple relationship and how the transformation of the devotee occurs by becoming one with the guru. So,
yes. Yeah. Amazing.
So I think we'll start. We're just about 7 o'clock. I think we're probably all here. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to look at the concept of death. And I'm going to start with reading some extracts from the book, Who Am I? So, there is no escape from the concept of death. The idea of death is a persistent companion that creeps up on you slowly but surely, guaranteed to perpetuate fear. But if you live and act according to ultimate reality, you will avoid falling into fearful illusion. When you know yourself perfectly, your fears around death will drop off spontaneously. When you are truly established in your reality, you will witness the body aging, knowing that you do not age. You will witness the body dying, knowing that the real you does not die. A famous affirmation says, "Today is the first day of the rest of your life. However, today could well be your last. Don't take anything for granted. Get to know who you are. Every moment of your life is an invitation to find that out. Don't leave yourself behind. You have a beautiful, unique opportunity to wake up from this dream and realize that you are not the body. So many bodies appear and so many bodies disappear. Life in the body will one day end. Your body will go, but you are not going anywhere. There is no death. Death is a body-related concept. The great sages of all traditions have repeated the same thing throughout the ages. The body is limited, transient, and finite. It has a time span, but you are not bound by time. You are beyond time and space. You are formless, unlimited, permanent, infinite, and eternal. You are not the body. You were never the body. You could not be that. The body is not your true identity. This is a truth that needs constant repetition so that you can really hear it. You need to hammer yourself with this truth repeatedly until it is accepted and the reality is absorbed within you, wholly and completely. When this happens, you will be free from all the imaginary shackles of worry, despair, and the big fear of death. Our intense fear of death accompanies our strong desire and determination to live. Most of us fear death and thus cannot love and live life to the full. When we think or believe that something is real, such as death, we experience fear, pain, and suffering. We are afraid to die, scared of the unknown, and fearful of annihilation. The thought of no longer existing can evoke an unbearable sense of dread and terror. However, when you understand that the true you is indestructible, that there is no death, then you will no longer be submerged by these conceptual traps of fear and death. We have always existed. We will ever exist. That is our reality. But our fears of falling sick, of being alone, feeling unloved, and afraid of dying in death, etc., keep driving us away from reality, forcing us to keep on running. From what are we running? We are running from our imagined fears and losses. The concept of death follows us relentlessly, and so we keep running away from this ghost that keeps us in terror's grip. Don't let the jaws of death gobble you up. What is the cause of fear? What is the root of fear? It is the big fear of death. But who is going to die? The body will expire. That's all. You are not going to die. Death is a concept. Death is a ghost. Face this phantom now. Otherwise, fear will paralyze you on your deathbed. Death is nothing but a concept or idea. However, to know and believe this intellectually is not enough. It needs to be fully absorbed. Even when we know that I am not the body, there might still be some kind of deep-rooted fear around us, which we have overlooked. So examine yourself and probe deeply. Some sort of dread may still be lurking in the background, subtle worries or anxieties. Make sure your conviction is not just skin deep. Don't wait until the body is dying. Start attending to yourself now. Self-inquire and put an end to your illusory-based suffering. All your fears will leave you when you face them and discover that they are baseless. You will not have any more fear when you realize your true nature. You are not the body, but immortal. Why not awaken to reality, your natural stateless state, where there are no fears or hang-ups, just unwavering peace and unfluctuating happiness? Stop being a seeker, be a finder of your authentic self. That is the only way to be free. Chase the ghosts out of your head and set yourself free. This body does not belong to you. If you develop a health problem, then of course go and check it out with a doctor. However, at the same time, when you know you're not the body, you will not be overly concerned about these problems. You will not buy into them because you will know that whatever appears to be happening is happening to the body alone. It is not happening to you. No one dies and no one is born. 1 year, 2 years, 50 years, 80, 90 years are the concepts related to the material body. You are not that. You are like the ageless sky. You are not subject to poverty, illness, midlife crises, etc. For many, when they are nearing the end of their bodily life, what often happens is that their fears suddenly intensify. But if you realize the body is not your identity, then fear will no longer haunt you. There is no I in the sky. Your presence is just like the sky, which has no fear. When the time span of the body, say of your husband, wife, closest partner or friend, comes to an end, you will tell others that you have lost your loved one. You will feel sad and start to grieve for your loss. But this too is an illusion. There is no such thing as death. Therefore, where is the loss? Where is the place for grief? No one has died. This misunderstanding has arisen from perceiving ourselves and our loved ones as body forms and identifying with all these forms. You grieve because your loved one's body form is no longer with you and your world collapses. But this is a misunderstanding or wrong thinking. It is not reality. In this imaginary world, your beloved has gone, but in reality, he or she has not gone anywhere. He did not come, and he did not go. You did not come, and you will not go anywhere either. What has taken place is simply a transition. You have not lost anyone. Your beloved is not lost. His energy, what he is in essence, has undergone a change, a transformation, transmutation from the form to the formless that we all are. The dissolution of the body does not affect our true nature. You are not the body, and neither are your loved ones. They live on. Be serious. Take your reality on board. Self-inquire and hammer the ego until you have lost all confidence in I am somebody, which is the root of all your problems and the cause of all your grief. Find out if there is any stress or fear around you. And don't be afraid of annihilation. You cannot kill what was never there, i.e., an illusion? Are you at peace and completely happy? If not, it means you're not quite there yet. But don't lose heart, just keep on hammering. Practice, 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 and then slowly but surely there will be the realization of your reality as ultimate truth. After conviction, you will no longer fear death because you will know deep down at the core of your being that you are unborn. Jai Guru. And now we have a question on related to the concept of death. Question. I imagine that at the time of death, most people have some fear because they are facing the unknown and therefore they feel very alone. Answer. No, not at all. If you have died to the ego before the end of your bodily existence, then there is no one there to be fearful. Who is going to be afraid? On the contrary, the last moment can be the opposite, blissful, the fulfillment of a lifetime, because finally there is complete separation from the body form. And not only that, because of our link to the masters in this lineage, they will ensure that we are not alone. They will be with us in the final moments. I know this firsthand from witnessing my late husband Charles's final moments, which I would like to share with you. In 2018, some days before leaving the body, Nisargadatta Maharaj would appear to him and make his presence felt. He would remind Charles to, quote, welcome the difficulties, unquote, to which Charles replied with humour, have I not had enough of them already? And then, at the point of his transition, I saw all the lineage masters gathered round his bed, and they were clapping. And that is not all. On the day of his cremation, another miracle took place. As I was singing the bhajans, suddenly Nisargadatta Maharaj appeared. He was blessing Charles, sprinkling him with deep red coloured petals. And then I saw the two of them merge and spiral round and round before the vision disappeared. Both awestruck and excited, I burst out laughing. I was so grateful to Nisargadatta that I knelt down and thanked him for the huge and timely blessing. There were no tears because I knew he had not gone anywhere. Where would he go? He just returned to the formless state. In conclusion, we will have nothing to fear when it is our time, as long as we have erased the ego and woken up from this dream. And be assured that the masters will be there to accompany us and receive us. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. So I'm going on to another question. If at any point you have something to say or you want to ask something, just ask, just interrupt me if you wish. So here's the question. Supposing a person has not reached the realization of his true essence before the moment of death of the body, if at the moment of leaving the body he does not succumb to fear, I've got a strange, we're all in the country now, I don't know what's happening now. The picture's changed. I've lost the place now. If the person does not succumb to fear and with firm intellectual conviction adheres to the concept, I am not dying, the body is not dying, at the same time he will concentrate as much as possible on the concentrator and keep repeating the Nam mantra. Is self-realization possible at this very moment? So I will repeat the statement Maharaj often makes. It is unequivocal, meaning it is unambiguous and clear. There is no room for compromise, no grey areas. Ultimate reality will not emerge until all body-based knowledge has been removed. In this scenario of the last moment of bodily life, which is the most testing and challenging moment we face, it is unlikely that with the best will in the world, if the person is lacking conviction, that he will be able to face the moment without any fear. Maharaj often said to try and have the conviction well before leaving the body. Otherwise, you will be shaking and trembling on your deathbed. Maharaj advises us, don't leave waking up from the dream till the last moment, as it will be impossible. The root of all our fears is the big fear of death. Therefore, if we have not yet dissolved the illusory ego that carries the weighty concept of fear of death, of extinction, of annihilation, wipeout, before the last moment, then the odds will be stacked against us. Also, the older we are, the more difficult it is to uproot the ingrained concepts. Having said all that, miracles do happen. If, for example, you're close to your master or guru and call on them to help you, then assistance will come. The masters, gurus are infinitely compassionate. But to be on the safe side and not leave the door open for unfavourable eventualities, it's better to make sure that self-realization has occurred well before your sell-by date. Even mentioning the possibility of a miracle could make you complacent and not carry out the practice. So please don't take any risks. Make sure that this is your last dream, which for many is more like a nightmare than a dream. It is up to you. You have all the tools at your disposal, therefore use them and set yourself free. Jai Guru. Now there's a second part to this question which says, if the answer is yes, is it possible to use this principle at times when devotees experience during the practice the sensation of dissolution, disappearance, the feeling of death, which causes panic and fear? So the answer to that part is yes. Many devotees, after some practice, experience moments when they feel they are going to disappear, be extinguished or annihilated. These moments can cause immense fear. And some devotees actually give up at this point because the fear overwhelms them and they can't cope with it, and so they stop the practice. So even though it's illusory, the fear is very strong. So here the auto-suggestion of I am not dying, only the body is dying, and similar statements can reduce the fear as well as aid conviction. Jai Guru. And now on a different theme, the questioner asks, if all there is consciousness, and this is a dream with actors, then guru or disciple, upon the ending of this dream, we all realize that consciousness, our natural state, upon death of the actor. What then happens to these actors? I can understand the unawakened would return to the dreams, to the dream, not as a reincarnation, but as another appearance. But I cannot understand what happens to the awakened actor now deceased. Is there an understanding of this? So what I said is, you have such a hunger to understand, it is very good. You have the bone between your teeth and you won't let it go. That is a great quality for a seeker. You will not give up and go all the way. So what happens to the awakened actor after death? You cannot understand what happens after, not really, because it is beyond our understanding. We can guess, imagine, surmise, etc., but we cannot know for sure. We can, however, gain some understanding from the experiences of loved ones who have transitioned, when they have felt the presence of their loved ones around them. And we can also know a little from these masters who have attained Mahasamadhi. So there are throughout history indications, fascinating accounts of the hereafter. I remember you asked this question back when we first met. I think I know where it's coming from. You wanted to know if your wife, your loved one, will be with you after leaving the body. Put it this way, stop perceiving yourself as a separate individual and your wife as a separate individual. Put on your non-dual spectacles and see her and you as formless oneness. Your essence and her essence are the same. We are all part of one essence, one energy. As Einstein and others said, energy never dies. It can be transformed into many things, but it will always remain. Excuse me. When there is awakening within you, and say you drop the body, then your essence, energy, continues. The form returns to the formless that you have always been. Putting it another way, presence becomes omnipresence. Then your question will be, what kind of activity will this post-beingness enlightened energy have? That we do not know until it happens. But to go back to loved ones, I know from my own experience with Charles, who left the body in 2018, that his presence is alive and with me all the time. That love that existed between us continues, it never dies. He's part of me. And his energy essence exists eternally, just like mine does too. As for the jnanis, they are an exceptional species, a little like the bodhisattvas in Buddhism. They exist in some plane where they are available to us always. They can appear in a kind of ethereal state, guiding us, protecting us, always with us. I know this also from direct experience, as many others do too. So that is all I can say about this post-dream life. At the moment, you are using the intellect to try and understand. I assure you that through deep meditation, the answers to your questions will appear. Once the mind quietens down and the door is open to source, the light will shine and pave the way for the answers to all your questions to appear. Then you will know from direct experience, guaranteed. Meanwhile, keep meditating, hammering, persevering. Warm regards, Jai Guru. Here's one. Dear Annji, would you speak about why you chose an image of looking in a mirror for the cover of Who Am I book? So looking at the mirror is we're looking at ourselves and asking the question, who am I? And if you notice at the end of the book, there is the same picture, but without any reflection and without the question mark to symbolize that after the journey, there is nothing there. And basically that's what it's about. And would you elaborate on the dedication to Ramakant Maharaj in the book as well? Now, the dedication is to, I say, to my beloved Maharaj, who taught me everything I don't know. Now, if I had said, who taught me everything that I know, that would mean that there is the illusion of an I, and as well as the knowledge. And we know that the knowledge, we're beyond knowledge. There was no knowledge prior to beingness. Therefore, to say, who taught me everything I don't know, means that I know that I don't know. I know I am formless the way I was prior to beingness, without an I, without knowledge. We are prior to and beyond knowledge. We say, I don't know, because everything is a dream, an illusion. No knowledge is knowledge. That was that one. Jai Guru. Here's another one. Dear Annji, I've dropped some time-consuming habits to make more time for the practice, or as Maharaj says, spend time with you. Mantras happening, self-inquiry is happening, meditation too, but not rigorously structured times. There is a pull towards learning the bhajans, and devotion is natural and spontaneous. So it is happening, but not regimented. Is this being too cavalier and not serious enough? So I say, you have made a very good start. Dropping some habits in favor of the practice is not easy. So well done. The discipline will come and you will fall into a regular pattern of practice 3 times a day or when you can. It is a big improvement from indulging in worldly entertainment. Mantra, self-inquiry and meditation are taking place. Plus, you say you're drawn towards learning the bhajans. And this is not just a thought that you should do, but a pull, a divine pull. That is excellent. The seed has been planted. And best of all, you report that devotion is natural and spontaneous. This means that your heart is opening up to the knowledge and the guidance of the masters. You ask if you're not serious enough about the practice. I would say, compared to giving your attention to worldly affairs and enjoying the scene, there has been a definite change to stay with the seer and involve yourself in the practice. So it is very encouraging. Go slowly in the beginning or the ego will rebel. Steady is good. Keep on doing what you're doing. Well done, Jai Guru. In Selfless Self, Ramakant Maharaj says that if you're not aware of yourself prior to beingness, then something seems to appear in nothing, and nothing takes itself for this something because it does not know anything any better. And in this case, the something is the body, and therefore it immediately identifies with the body. I understand it this way. If the presence is not aware of itself prior to beingness, then incarnation occurs, another dream arises. And everywhere in the books, it is said that the presence in principle is not aware of itself, just as the sky does not know that it is the sky. So I'm trying to figure out, is this a contradiction or a misinterpretation? It's just that if realization is a state before beingness in which you don't know yourself, then what's the point? Let's say the fact of non-existence scares me. Non-existence is not in the manifestation in which we are used to seeing it, the world, life, etc., but in general, the very fact of not being aware of your presence. It is clear that self-examination and the question, who is afraid of this, begs here. But I still want to try and understand and get the essence behind these words of Maharaj, if it is of course possible. For example, after your body expires, will you also not be aware of yourself as it was before beingness? Or will the state still be different from the state that was before beingness without awareness, since you became aware of yourself during life? So your understanding is correct about prior to beingness. And then there is manifestation and identification with the body form. So there is no misinterpretation, misunderstanding. Keep it simple. Supposing we have millions of incarnations, and during each one of them, let's call them dreams, we don't wake up. We don't self-realize. The body expires, and then we return to prior to beingness again, but never wiser than before. Then again, there's another dream, but say this time it's your last dream. This time you wake up. So waking up is the point. Otherwise, we go round and round and round on the never-ending wheel like idiots. How do you wake up? By realizing that you are not the body-mind, by removing all the layers. Now, all these layers are composed of knowledge, worldly, man-made knowledge, or add-ons to our true nature. During the process of self-realization, you realize that you are eternal. You have always existed. You realize that you were never the form, but formless. Logically, following this, you realize that there is no you, and therefore no you to know anything. You are beyond knowing and unknowing. Your eternal essence just is. The difference between the state of ignorance in between incarnations and the stateless state of self-realization is that after realization, the cycle has ended, broken the cycle. You are permanently free. Your work is done here on earth because you have fulfilled the goal. In answer to your question, the state prior to beingness, before realization, is of course different because there is still ignorance or lack of enlightenment. You mentioned the fear of non-existence too, but there is no such thing. We have always existed, and we will ever exist in essence, energy, power, eternal reality, source, call it what you will. And that source is beyond definition, Brahman, Paramatman, or we can say eternal truth, eternal love, eternal light, eternal bliss. You cannot know with the limited mind. You can only guess until it occurs. That is why Maharaj tells the story of someone shouting up to another who's standing at the top of a mountain and says, "What is it like up there?" And the man at the top says, "You will have to come up and see for yourself." When awakening happens, knowing and being merge, and the stateless state is beyond awareness, beyond words. The former you has dissolved. If that has taken place, then who is aware? We cannot even use words to describe that which is prior to words. What we do know is that the self-realized jnanis, that presence of these knowers like Nisargadatta and Ramakant, etc., continues to be available to us here. Jai Guru. Here's a question. Often such thoughts come that I have some kind of rollback, as if a year ago or earlier I was more spiritual. And I say, ignore these thoughts. I was more spiritual is not true, because that I is an illusion. And as Maharaj teaches that the true meaning of spirituality is to hammer and demolish this I, which is the false I. Once the false I has been erased, then there is the emergence of what is truly spiritual. Jai Guru. Another question. When I conduct the research myself, self-inquiry, and ask a question, for example, who wants it, to whom did it come, etc., should I find and give an answer through reflection, saying this is what someone wants, or this has come to that, while taking the form of the ego, or is self-exploration a system of sequential questions that at first have no answer and they have a cumulative effect, after which one answer comes? Answer. The purpose of self-inquiry is not to find answers, as any answer you come up with will be illusory. Its purpose is to disidentify with the thoughts, concepts, and attachments. For example, if we say, to whom does this thought come? By asking the question, we are stopping the thought in its tracks. Before practicing self-inquiry, we take our thoughts as being real, as if we are the thoughts, as well as the thinker behind them. But when we ask the question, to whom, we are disconnecting ourselves from the thoughts. And when we do this more and more, repeatedly, we simultaneously believe in them less and less, and subsequently give less attention to the thoughts, and at the same time they lose their power. That's the idea behind the self-inquiry as a practice, if we do it frequently. Now, another question. Is there a need to artificially create signs of the realized during the day? Imagine, for example, that you see yourself in other people and the world around you. Feel the space in yourself and not yourself in the space, etc. And I said, don't try to feel. During the day, keep doing japa as well as convincing yourself using short statements such as, I am unborn, I am not the body. Everything is illusion. Don't use the mind to artificially manufacture the realized state. We are trying to weaken the mind. Don't use your imagination. These questions arise because you do not have a firm knowledge background or solid foundation. First step, you need to absorb the basic knowledge that you are not the body, that everything is an illusion, that you are unborn, that you are prior to beingness, that this is a dream, that you are an actor playing a role, that nothing is real. You need to hammer yourself with these statements so that we can undo the brainwashing and conditioning. Do it with joy in your heart and a skip in your step. As Maharaj says, this is happy knowledge. It should not be seen as work or duty, but it gives you the drive and determination to go for it and be free. Freedom from your little self is near. It is in your hands. You have all the tools at your disposal. So go deeper to know yourself with drive and passion. The foundation, your foundation should be, there is nothing except selfless self. And to build on that foundation, you should be contemplating on the knowledge and accepting it more and more deeply. This is not about belief. We don't have to believe in anything. But when the Master says something, the Master tells you the truth, all we have to do is accept it, and that's what we have great difficulty in doing. Instead of analysing, what does he mean by this? What does he mean by that? Or breaking it all down. The Master says something, you have the teachings, and all you need to do is accept them as truth. With the use of the Nam mantra, self-inquiry, and applying the knowledge, gradually you will be able to live the knowledge, be the knowledge, bridge the gap between beingness and knowingness that takes the not you beyond knowingness. Jai Guru. And another one. Recently, thoughts and a feeling have begun to come that I am not the one who performs the practice and tries to achieve enlightenment, that the ego is the seeker. But in the book Be With You, there is a quote where Ramakant Maharaj says that the seeker is the ultimate truth. So after all, the ultimate truth is the seeker, or is the ultimate truth observing or witnessing the seeker? And I said, the foundation, your foundation should be, I am ultimate reality. There is only one, not two. The mind separates this oneness and calls everything by names, different names. When the conviction is there, I am ultimate reality, there will be no questions. We have to use language for worldly existence because we are in the body form, and we try to give meanings to the words, for example, the seeker, the witness, etc. If everything is ultimate reality, then it follows that there is no such thing as a seeker or a witness, or the word ultimate reality for that matter. Everything is illusion. You, the mind, ego, concepts, feelings, layers of conditioning. These concepts have to be dissolved as they are covering up your ultimate reality, like clouds obscuring the sun. You are ultimate reality, full stop. Manifesting as somebody because you have forgotten your identity, start seeking for truth. When you ask the question, is the seeker the ego or ultimate truth? That is the mind dividing the one reality again. Everything is illusion. You are unborn. So why to analyze the unborn child? There is nothing to say. Ultimate reality plays the role of the seeker. So to understand the process, let's break it down. There is only ultimate truth. You are that. You are what you are seeking. Ultimate truth is indescribable, but let's say it is the essence, the power, the presence behind everything. Follow this logically, and it leads to the conviction that behind the illusory seeker, there is only ultimate truth, and therefore the seeker is ultimate truth. When you ask, is the seeker the ego or ultimate truth? This is just the mind playing tricks with you. And importantly, what this shows is that you do not have a solid base yet, that the knowledge is not established in you at all times and permanently. The conviction is not there yet. You are beyond words and worlds, and there is no seeker, no witness. These are just words. You are taking the words for real, and they are not. Where was the seeker, the witness, prior to beingness? One further point which I have elucidated in Who Am I book about the process. Teachers of Vedanta will take students through the process like I am taking you. First, you hear the truth of your reality. You are ultimate truth. And then you undergo the process of neti, discarding everything as illusion. What is reality? What is illusion? Using discrimination. What you are not. And finally, you are told and realize that everything is Brahman, or ultimate truth. After a shift in perspective, you realize that the world is the projection of your spontaneous presence. This means that everything is a play, a reflection of that one ultimate reality. There must be the conviction that you are established in ultimate reality. You must know deep down that this is your base, your source. It has always been, because you are prior to beingness. That ultimate reality is your eternal reality. And when that is established within you, you will not be led astray by these intellectual questions. You end the first question saying, so after all, the ultimate truth is the seeker, or is ultimate truth the witness? The answer is yes, without words. And again, ultimate reality is beyond the witness, the seer, the knower. You are beyond everything you can put into words. Jai Guru. There's a few more here, but I'm not sure if maybe I've heard enough questions. Or does anyone have anything to say before everyone's nice and quiet and silent? Would you like me to continue then with a couple more questions? Or have you had enough? Okay, I'm going to continue then. Right. The masters say, including, okay, and who am I? That it is necessary to let go of everything that has been accumulated since childhood, property, roles, installations, etc., no matter how logically it's all clear. But at the same time, you say that we do not need to neglect our obligations, not to quit our job, family, etc. And on the other hand, we need to give up all this. It turns out like a stick with two ends. Either I need to make a choice and give up all this by stepping aside, or continue to stay in all this illusion and continue to play my roles. I'm not comparing, but trying to figure it out. And I say, again, you're using the mind and taking the teachings literally. You need to establish the knowledge of your reality deeper within you. You have not absorbed the knowledge yet. We are attached to who we are, likes, dislikes, conditioning, values, family, children, behavior, etc. And the goal is to loosen these attachments. We need to carry out our duties, work, family, etc. There is no either or, as you say, or a stick with two ends. You conclude that either I need to make a choice, step aside, or continue to cook in the illusory sauce. The block here is the I who thinks it has to make a choice. You should know by now that there is no I, and that this I is incapable of making choices anyhow. This I is just a big illusion that keeps tripping you up. Letting go or giving up is an internal act, an internal process that unfolds out of the practice and the deepening of the knowledge. If the conviction is there of I am ultimate reality, then your attention would be fixed on that alone at all times, not on the mind trying to work out the either or scenario. We are able to loosen the attachments and continue to role play because of the firm conviction of our reality. There is no conflict. This is a householder lineage, not an order of monks. No need to retreat in a cave. No need to escape at all. What are you escaping from when you know all is illusion? I'll make this the last one. I have already had thoughts or an understanding that I will not be able to realize myself as me, and I will have to say goodbye to my identity and everything connected with me. I am theoretically ready for this and accept it, but still nothing happens. It seems to be a game of two roles. On the one hand, the seeker, who in one period of wakefulness rejects everything and performs the practice, putting everything on the line, calling everything that happens and is perceived as illusion, and in the other period of time is completely immersed in this illusion in order to simply continue to exist and fulfill his duties. It seems closed and endless. Answer. Your work and family life offer great challenges for progress, for you not to be caught up in their demands and duties. Work and daily life give you further practice to dissolve the I, who still thinks is the doer. Everything happens spontaneously. You need to remember this at all times. Applying the teachings to daily life is the practice. These teachings need to be lived. Only when they are lived can you gauge your progress. When there is absolute solid conviction, you can be anywhere, doing anything, and always remain untouched. That pure, pristine energy, that reality that you are, is immutable. It cannot be altered or blemished in any way. You need to know this and accept it. Your feelings of frustration or thoughts of abandoning work, duties, family, if they arise, are part of the process, but know that these illusory feelings will also pass. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. So we're going to close there, and thank you all for coming. And
thank you.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.